Hello and welcome to the show. We are here today on Forza Horizon 5, messing around with some of the Event Lab stuff. Well, this is more about the circuit building, if you like, rather than going to too much depth with the crazy rules for it, because, well, I've been checking out the map and come up with, that'll be a couple of videos probably with this sort of stuff, because there's a couple of tracks I want to try building. For this one, I've got something stupid. This BMW has a full-on time attack body kit option, which, I mean, I liked. It was wild, it was crazy, it had a silly wing on the back of it, so I thought, yes, we're going to do that. And then I noticed while building the car, you can actually put a normal wing on the back of it as well, so we can have a double wing. It's absurd, and I love it for that very reason. This is going to be the vehicle that I am using to, I say, sort of build this circuit, test this circuit out. Whether it becomes a kind of mainstay in terms of a rally car build circuit, we shall see. But yeah, we're gonna have a go. I've experimented a little bit with the Creator. It's quite powerful, but also quite annoying. As we're going to, I say it's quite annoying. It's not perfect. At the moment, we can't place a start line. I was wrong when I did the review of the game. I didn't actually realise you could place props. You can. It's not very well explained, but you can do it. But you can't place a start line, so you've got to work from where the game gives you start lines and what direction they're heading in. Thankfully, for what I want to be doing, we can use this start line, and this is perfectly positioned for what. In fact, I couldn't put it better. Essentially, if I was going to be building a second. So we're going to use this car. It's a mid S1 class car. It is all-wheel drive, off-road tyres, 700 horsepower. It's using its standard engine. If I do go down a build series, I like to try and keep cars with their standard engines. It gives a little bit more variety, because otherwise I think, unless they physically can't get towards mid S1 class, I would probably also be running stuff as a mid S1 class. Top S1 is ridiculous. This game, like top S1, everything's right. Like this, what I would class as a fairly sensible car, is going to be running in the thousands of horsepower. So the PIs are a little bit different in this game, so I'd potentially see this as a mid S1 class. But yeah, so this is the start line. Absolutely where I want it to be on this course. Right, so we're going to run down here. Now, to build the circuit's the same as we had in Horizon 4. You press the back button and you can place a checkpoint. For this, it is going to be along the road here. Then we're going to go off-road, because of course this is going to be predominantly an off-road circuit. Now, it is difficult to do full dirt for a lot of places, because a lot of the start lines in the game are built on tarmac. Now this circuit, there is a little bit of tarmac. It's mostly just an acceleration zone. It's a final corner and acceleration down to the first corner. And this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. This is where it's going to get fiddly in terms of cornering. And I like this little section that I've got an idea for. So we're going to have a hairpin. So you're going to come blasting down the start-finish line. You come blasting down this relatively narrow place, and then you've got to get the car stopped. So it's a good test of braking. I mean, we're doing really heavy braking zone here for the car, because we're going left, and then we're immediately going right. Now, I'm not sure where it's going to let me place a checkpoint. It's going to let me place a checkpoint over here. So we're going to try and prevent corner cutting. Now, I can come back, and we will do prop placement at the end. I'll show you through the route. I'll do a little bit of the prop placement, and then I'll probably do the rest off camera, because it's quite time consuming. But yeah, we're going to have this checkpoint here, so we're going to force the cars to try and, yeah, you can kind of straight line it, although I'm going to block off where you could straight line. I'm going to block it off with walls. I would ideally place this checkpoint closer, but I can't, because there's limitations of how close checkpoints can be. So that will give us a checkpoint there, and then we head into the water. Now, depending on the season, will depend on if the water is here or not. I will set it to try and have the water as an extra hazard, because I like having as many different sort of obstacles for a rally car to deal with. There is no jumps in this, which is a little bit of a shame. I'm kind of okay with it, because we've got a different kind of test for the vehicles. That's actually not that's not the best checkpoint. As I said, we can kind of, I mean, I'm trying to place the checkpoint so you couldn't corner cut too much anyway, but we can also prevent it by just building walls, funnily enough. So we're going to run around here. We're going to have another checkpoint along this bit of a road here. It's nice. I say it's nice and wide. It's relatively wide through this section. I mean, this is all relatively sensible in terms of a off-road circuit. Again, I'm trying to make sure that we can't, we're not going to be able to jump the corner too much because of where the checkpoints are positioned. This is where it's going to get a little bit funky. So we'll have another checkpoint over here, and then we're going to try and line it up to attack this part. But I want to, again, prevent too much corner cutting. I might have wanted to place that checkpoint a little further back. We'll get away, you know, I might actually, if we just cancel, we can rewind. Not that I'm not worried about where the AIs are going to go for this one here. The AIs are not important. This is not going to be a circuit you are going to race against other cars on. This part would be fine. You will see very quickly why. So we're now going to have another section where we can blast along. A good little acceleration test for the vehicles. And as I said, they're going to be... Ideally, I'm looking at running stuff as an S1 class, a mid S1 class, because we get lots of power. We can get interesting, quite quick vehicles here, which will be fun to have. And we're going to jump around this corner. So the latter part of this is going to get a lot of sort of 90-degree corners. That's just the kind of area that we're in. It's the limitations of kind of what we're going to, what we're going to have here. You know, I'm okay with it. There's decent enough corner variety. It's not just all 90-degree corners. And now we're going to have a nice hairpin for the cars to tackle. Oh, that checkpoint is a little further forward than I wanted it to be. We'll just back it up. A smidge, we can get away with that. Checkpoint kind of goes to the nose of the car. I don't know why I was basing it on the middle of the car, but it does actually more in line with the nose. Ignore the big splitter jutting out at the front. Never mind that. Okay, so we'll have a little hairpin there. And then we will have another checkpoint along here. So we're blasting along. Now, of course, this is all at fairly slow pace. You know, actually, probably should have put a checkpoint down here somewhere, just to be safe. Not that it really matters, I guess. We can have a checkpoint along here. That'll be fine. It's not like you're not likely to get lost. And then we're going to have another hairpin for the cars to tackle. At this point, again, stop too much corner cutting. With the way the checkpoints are here, I wouldn't need to put too many walls in. I probably will, just for almost for the aesthetic look of it. I'd rather have stuff walled in a bit. We can have a checkpoint down here. Is it still going to let me put one? Because this is where it's going to get really fiddly now. This is why I like this as a different sort of a challenge. I've done various build series on all sorts of different circuits, all sorts of different stuff. And this kind of layout I designed, I didn't even really intend to design this. I was just driving around, messing about, and came up with this idea. Now, initially, it was going to just run down here. Okay, it's narrow, it's tricky, but I thought, why not make it even meaner and start dealing with this kind of stuff? So we're going to have a little bit of weaving in between the buildings. It kind of mixes my favourite stuff. It's a really technical end to this lap. Oh, okay, definitely not there. It's a technical end to the lap. While it's off-road, I like building cars for rallying. I like that sort of a challenge. So we've got the off-road challenge part of it, along with a really technical, almost autocrossy section here. And I think this is fiddly. This is difficult for cars to deal with at the end of the day, because it's really properly narrow here. You know, this is the sort of place where I might even find myself using handbrake, and I would never be... Forza games would never be sliding the cars around. It's always slower, but for here it might actually be slightly quicker to try and get it around these sort of awkward switchbacky corners that you've got going on. And we can have that one there. Now, it'll be walled off to prevent too much shenanigans going on. And then we can have a checkpoint here. I actually don't know if I want that there. And then we're going to have another one as far out as I can place it here to stop too much in the way of corner cutting. And then we can again build some walls to prevent cars from running wide out there. Not that I think you're going to have too much problem. And we wouldn't really have to worry about any more checkpoints or any more walling in here, because you're going to be flat. Everything's going to be flat around this section. And there we go. Now we'll place a checkpoint here. And then what we're going to do is we will go into the blueprint builder. So this is the bit that is new to the game. We get a free camera. I think I can go as far... I'm really hoping I can go as far as I like, otherwise I've really screwed this up. I'm pretty sure I can. I forgot for a second, I thought I'd beansed it. So, you can see the route on the map. You can see the way the course lies. I don't need any props down this start-finish straight. Okay, there's no reason why I'm going to need props down here, because you're walled in either side. There's no shortcutting, there's no advantage to be gained. Now, what I might do is I might just build a wall Right, so here we go. These are the props we've got. We have got ramps, we have got jumps, we have got bits of pier and all that kind of thing. We've got flags. So you can actually, like, you know, like style-wise, you can have all of these and you can have arrows indicating where to go. Really helpful for if we're building circuits that might, let's say, go into team adventures. It makes it easier for those that are, you know, less knowledgeable of the circuits. It makes it a bit easy to find. We've got festival parts, you can put those. I mean, the bits that we're interested in, the walls, you can have, like, full-on... fences. Now I believe these are these bits here are what we generally see lining the circuits. So that's what we're going to go for here. Now you can copy and paste. Personally, yes. Oh dear, that's not what I meant to do. I pressed the wrong button completely there. Bear with. Oh, for God's sake, I've got to do this. Right, no. Okay, so it's start. I'll eventually remember what I'm doing with this. It seems slightly, for some reason, it doesn't come up with the buttons to tell you what you're supposed to be clicking. I don't know why. I've rebound a couple of controls to this game, nothing ridiculous, so I don't know why it's not, nothing that should be affecting this, so I don't know why it's not telling me. But there is a way to copy and paste bits of wall and that kind of stuff. For some reason, whenever you do that, button is it Y? Yeah, Y. It doesn't put the thing, it doesn't like lock the thing to the ground. And I don't know why, which means it's actually quicker. I prefer just to press start and then drop it on the floor and then you can have it positioned however you like. I've kind of slightly janked this up a bit. It's fine. I mean, this is not actually that bigger a problem. If I have it a little janky here, it doesn't really matter because I don't think this is ever going to be this is not really a wall that's ever going to be needed because this is well out of the way. You'd never be out over this part of the circuit. This is not really, it's not, well, say it's not an overtaking spot. This is more of a time trial circuit, but there's no reason why you would be over there. You can clearly see it's telling you to go down there. If I want to be fancy, of course, you know, sometimes you've got to be a little bit fancy. If we want to be fancy, we could grab these and we can place these. Ooh. We could place those up there. Oh, what the no, I want you to go over this side of the wall. Yes, that's the, no, not on the wall, behind the wall. No. Can you go in front of the wall then? Will you please be quiet if I put you in front of the wall? That'll do the job. So we can have the signs saying go down there. Now, the way the props work for this is a little bit different. The percentage is more to do with the type of prop. So I can put as many concrete barriers as I like, but I can only use so many types of props. So once I've used this, the concrete barrier counts as one type, and that's 1%. I think like the ramps count as a much bigger amount. But I can use as many concrete barriers as I like. A little bit odd, but sure, it's the way it goes. I'm going to keep this to a minimum in terms of props, really. Partly because, I mean, it's time consuming, and a lot of places I don't think they're going to be needed. Also because, from what I have heard, the game is liable to crashing, essentially. Also, apparently, the checkpoint flags do not stay. I wanted to go do this all in one go. This will be fun and games. I've got to try and guesswork where I put the flags. That is another thing that I have just run into that I didn't know was going to be a problem. Well, I'm pretty sure we had it so that this is all on the grass is basically where we're going to prevent cars from going. So that's fine. I can work with that one. That's no problem at all. We can just dump that there, and then we can twist one around here. You're not going to be going any further to the inside than that. I'm not worried. Like, if you go wide here, you're not going to be making up time. If you miss your braking, if you end up out over here, you're not making up time. So we're going to prevent cars from going too far to the inside here with some more of these barriers. And this is basically it. Okay. It's a pretty good track creator. It is more in-depth than we saw in Horizon 4, which is good. That's what we wanted to see. There are more options and there's a lot more possibilities. I mean, what I'm doing here is nothing. I mean, the circuit would work without these props at the end of the day. These aren't necessary to make the circuit complete. It just makes it a little bit neater, just gives it that little bit more complete feel. And you know, the big difference is in terms of making tracks to race around, let's say, 4 team adventures. We're not going to be using custom circuits for a while. while everybody gets used to the game, etc. But it gives you possibilities. It gives you a lot more possibilities for what you can do with the game, with a lot more variety. There is, as I said, the creator can be a little bit crashy from what I have heard, and the biggest problem I've really got with it is currently, so the reason why I'm having to build this, like what I would ideally want to be able to do is, let's say, place down a circuit, build a track, test it a couple of times, and then go back. You can't go and edit the props on a circuit after you've saved it. So that's why I'm having to go back and do this. I wanted to build the layout. I didn't realise it was going to delete the flags. That is actually really annoying to me, because I'm not going I can't really go back and test this. I don't really want to have to keep drive a few meters, build some props, drive a few meters, build some props. But I'm going to have to kind of work with guesswork and hope. But it's fine. What could go wrong with that? I mean, what I'm going to do over here is, again, I don't really want cars. So we're fine with things going through the water, and we'll give some space here. I want to sort of keep the cars on the track, on the path. As far as I'm aware, the checkpoints are kind of preventing too much. So we will just build along. And that's kind of it, really. There's not going to be much fancy. I mean, the checkpoints kind of cover everything that I want to do in terms of the route. So I'm going to finish placing a bunch of these blocks down. And then I guess you will see, hopefully, the completed thing. Or the game's going to crash, which I'm really hoping it isn't, and then I'm going to be sad. That is a distinct possibility. But yeah, I'm going to place a whole load of concrete blocks, and we shall see what the finished thing is like. So, we are back with the finished article, I think. Just about to see the walls over there. Oh, actually, how high can we go? I do not know. Relatively high. I wish the drone mode would let us do this. You can kind of see down here where the walls are. There's had to be some guesswork. Okay, I guess we've got our render distance a little bit. Yeah, there's been a little bit of guesswork. We're going to see how it pans out. I'm hoping it's all worked. I think I might have given a little bit more leeway in some places, but I guess we're going to find out how that's all worked, and then I guess we can just run across the finish line there, and that will complete our course. You can see I've messed around with a couple of other builds. They're not bad circuits, but yeah, none of them. They're all kind of built layout-wise, but not with props and so on. So we're going to need to call it. I'm just going to call it technical rally stage because I don't have it. I can't call it anything longer. Sure, technical rally will do, because I haven't got a real name in mind. So there we go. We have finished. Do I want to create an event with this route? Sure. Let's go and create our own little race to go and test this out and see how it all works. Now the plus point I can do with this is when we create it, unlike in previous games, for example, we can, or in Horizon 4, so we're going to use this event. Now we are going to turn off the driver tars, which means I can actually do a time trial without having to faff around with AIs and getting them out of the way, etc., which is awesome. We're going to have the season in the wet season. We're going to have early afternoon. Nice clear early afternoon, but it does mean there's going to be water on the track in places, which is good, which is what we want. Don't care about any of that. Traffic we can turn off as well, always helpful. Performance class, let's say we're going to stick with S1 for this. We're going to stick with the mid. If I go for a build series on this circuit, we're going to go with the 850 Pi cars. That seems to be the way to go. Car themes, let's just have anything goes for this. There we go. Anything goes, S1. Okay, I can't specifically set it to 850, but for the sake of this, we're going to. And then we're going to go for a test drive. So I set it to 5 laps. Again, if I was to be doing a series, 5 laps would be how long I would have to familiarise myself with the car and set a time with the vehicle. I feel like that's normally enough so that the video is not crazy long in terms of length, and you can kind of adapt to the car. It means you've got to adapt quickly, but it does also mean that an easier to drive car is rewarded a little bit more than a car that's very fast but very fiddly. So I've always kind of liked this. You've got to get a car working, got to get a car working quickly. I've always liked it as a little bit of a challenge, so to speak. So here we go. It is time to see how our mad winged BMW fares around this circuit and how the circuit is all going to pan out. I'm not sure where the breaking point is for down here. Okay, actually that's worked out quite nicely. Where the guesswork on the walls does seem to do the job here. How is the walling up here? Not too shabby. Considering I couldn't see any of the checkpoints when placing this, I'm relatively happy with this so far. That wall stops us from cutting the corner too much there. That wall is close on the outside, but it does what we want it to. Yeah, that, for guesswork, it's just a tiny bit on the inside of that first one. I should have put a sign telling what direction we're going there. That's the one place I think I've forgotten to put. I haven't put signs up in here. Okay. Yeah, here I didn't know where the outside flag was. Okay, I could have maybe put a little bit of wall on the outside there. But I didn't know where I was building it to, so yeah. Okay, there's a couple of places I could have done a little bit more signage. I mean, I'm still also learning what I'm doing with building of the tracks. That is absolutely spot on, how I wanted it to be. Fantastic stuff. That's what we like. I mean, I would like to be able to get rid of the debris. That was not up on the roof. That was not up on the roof either when I built it, but it's going to have to do. It doesn't really affect anything. I mean, as long as we get the car through it, I can't really cut that corner very much because it's really tight to get the checkpoint. That's a bad final turn. I have put the wall on the outside there. The reason why I did that is I didn't want cars to just go steaming into that corner and not care how wide they go. So that's actually quite a technical corner now. You really got to be careful with it. We're going to brake. I'm going to guess the sort of post there on the outside is going to be the braking point. Got a really good front end to get through that section. The beam is not bad, but yeah, you're really going to want a good front end to get through that, because it's a very, very slow section. I mean, around here it's not so bad, just general grip will do the job. We're going to slide the car a little bit through there. Get the car stopped and change direction, and then you can focus. I mean, we've not got too many acceleration zones, but if you can get out of that previous corner well, that is always helpful. Really stop the car through there, grab the checkpoint. Watch out for the golf carts, they will completely mess up your run, so to speak. You'll lose a lot of momentum. You'll get away with hitting some street furniture, but the golf caddies, they are quite heavy, so they will ruin your day. Get the car stopped, get turned in for these sections. And I think there is going to be a fair bit more. I mean, I don't normally like using the handbrake. You know, sliding cars around in Horizon games is a quick way to lose a lot of time, but with corners like these, it really is going to, I think, be the case, especially if you've overdriven it just a smidge. Like a grab of the handbrake might just save you if you've not quite got your braking point right. Here, I think we're really going to have to slow the car down because it just wants to drift wide and clonk the wall. Yeah, and that is also because the cars are running, this thing is running on the off-road race tyres. And everything would run on off-road race tyres around here because you're on dirt for the majority of the time. But that section, as you come out onto the tarmac, suddenly the tyres are not as good. The tyres are not suited to that corner, so you're finding yourself turning and the front end really doesn't want to know because you've got the wrong tyres. It's only that corner, you'd never sacrifice the rest of the run, of course, but it does mean that one section is nasty. I will say, having got the walls in some of these places, it does change. So I've been messing around driving around this sort of fictional layout in free roam while I was designing it, and then just running a few, sort of seeing how it felt, just running a few, I say practice, but just running the car around it, getting a feel whether I liked the layout or not. And when you put the walls in, it does change a little bit how you approach some of these sections. You've got to think a little bit more, which I like. That's the point of this sort of thing. A couple of places you've got to be a little bit more careful than I would be when I was just messing around, with no specific set route. Oh, that's got to be a little bit wide. That's such a horrible hairpin. Through the houses we go. Oh, through a chair, at the stool, and I mean, you kind of move the stool out of the way. That's fine. We're grabbing the handbrake a little bit through here. Again, I might try. So we've got 5 laps. I might try next lap to go for a no handbrake and see what lap time wise we get out of that. Whether that is, I mean, that is my traditional. Still, I think I've grazed the wall every time on the way out there. Traditionally, I would not want to slide the car around at all, but this is very, very technical. It's very low-speed technical as well. It's not like autocross where you've got some high-speed stuff going on. 28.6 is the time to beat. There's actually a little bit of a lock-up down there. I had to grab the handbrake because I wasn't making the corner. We've overshot a little bit there. We'll get away with it. We can bring the car back across to get the checkpoint. Got some understeer. Should be patient and patient and patient and wait before you can jump on the throttle there. Again, likewise through here. Going to be, you've got a little bit of weights to do. That's nice through there though, then we can jump on the power soon. I could have maybe been in third, to be honest. There's a lot to think about around this course, which is the point of this sort of rally stage. It's a different style of rally stage to some. I instinctively tapped the handbrake through there. Oh, we might have just got away with that bounce off of the golf caddy. slow car down. I said I wasn't going to go handbrake, and it's almost... yeah, it always does feel like trying to get the front end. It's, again, rare I'd say this, but through there, for example, this is the section where it's going to make the biggest amount of difference, I think. Oh, come on, Beamer. Get through these real... I mean, this is... I mean, it's a relatively wide car, but this is not the biggest, most ridiculous vehicle you could have in the game, and that's a narrow section. It's a proper rally special stage, if you will, through there. What is the lap time looking like by the end of all of this? We're going to be blasting up towards the finish line. 27.2, we're quicker. This is it, we're on to the final lap with the car. I still think a little bit of handbrake is going to be wanted in a couple of places. Around. It's not enough to really slide the car, it's just enough to rotate the back of the vehicle. Like through there, for example. It's just enough to get the back end in check if we're getting a little bit wonky. In normal situations, I don't think I'd ever want to do it, but this is not a normal kind of track. So, yeah, it's working. It's working. I like this car. I love the body kit. It's insane, and yes, I know it's a bug, and I'm sure it'll be fixed at some point, but I love that it exists at the moment so naturally. I mean, I didn't know what car I was going to use for this video, but as soon as I saw this body kit, I knew this was going in a video as soon as possible because it's really dumb. Oh, that's a little late on the brakes there. That's not stopping. Jeez. That is a horrible section. Really got to get it working on the brakes. That might be a little too much of a slide, but we're kind of in trouble running a bit wide anyway. We'll chuck the car through here. And again, this next section, there we go. Keep it away from the wall. Now, there might be some cars as well. If I do choose to run around here, there might be some cars where the front end is much better behaved, and I don't have to drive it in this manner. We'll have to wait and see. We don't kiss the wall this time around. There we go. Nicely does it. What is the lap time? I don't think this is going to be quicker because we missed one of the hairpins. I really struggled to get the car stopped. No, slower. I like that. No, I really like that as a circuit. It's not the traditional... It's not a circuit you'd race around. It's too narrow. You might get a couple of cars. You might get like a 1v1 sort of a style race there. I'm happy with that. I am really happy with that as far as the circuit goes, yeah. A 1v1 kind of a race, I could see that working there. As it is, okay, let's edit name. Let's have it as rally car build, as that is what it would be used for. Sure. I like that. I'm going to give this a publish. As I said, I have a couple of other ideas for circuits, for layouts, that I'm probably going to have a play around with, and if I do go for a build series on Horizon 5, this is one of the potentials. I'm going to publish this, though. Does that mean it's saved there? No? Is that published now? I think that means it's published. Sure, I think I can figure... I will have a look through... it's under Event Lab Creations, My Local Events. I don't know what that is. But there we go. Is that... Right, okay, so there's the share code. It's on the screen now. I was about to try and find for you. If you want to go and have a go with this circuit, by all means, do go give it a try. That is the share code. That should be for like a 5-lap time trial. If you want to have a go building some S1 850 Pi cars in S1 and have a mess around with the circuit, by all means, do go and give this a try. See what you can come up with. See how you like this as a circuit. I'm quite happy as far as my first creation goes on this. I'll also put the link, the code thing in the description as well, so you can have a download and have a look around. I'm pleased with how that's turned out, though. The creator is a little janky. Okay, it's good. The fact that you can't see where the checkpoints are more than 3 away is a pain, because I'd rather build the layout and then go back and put the stuff down rather than build a little bit of circuit and keep going around like that. I guess that's what you're going to just have to do, unless you know exactly what you're doing checkpoint-wise. It's certainly something I wasn't aware of. I am now. Yeah, I mean, the creator's fun. There's potential there. It's not always the most easy to work with. I haven't personally experienced crashes, although that wasn't exactly the most complex build of all time. So, yeah, it can apparently be a little tetchy, and there is no way... Now, I can't go back and edit that. I can't go back and edit the props, which is a real pain. I hope that is something we see, because, yeah, if I'd finished the layout, I can't go back and edit the props. and that does not make life easy because, yeah, you might want to make some adjustments and everything, and you can't without starting afresh. So I'm hoping we might see, when we see the likes of the, well, apparently, supposedly, the ability to place start locations is going to be on the way at some point. I don't know when we might see that, but hopefully with that we'll have the ability to go back and edit props and that kind of thing after the route has been made, so that it just makes it a little easier, because as it is, yeah, it's a slight pain in the ass. It is cool though, and there is a lot more you can do with it, a lot more flexibility, and a lot of potential, which can be a little bit janky at times. We shall see. I do have a few more ideas though of stuff I'm going to be building, so keep an eye out for that in the future, and do have a go with that circuit if you are into that style. It's a certain type of driving, that kind of time trial-y technical stuff. It is one of my favourite things to do, combination of off-roading and kind of technical fiddly driving. That is very much my sort of thing. I know it's not quite for everybody, but I like being able to build, you know, the ability to create stuff for that particular niche, if you like, is fun. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.